Coming up next, I interview Caitlin Crosby, and I really had a great time interviewing Caitlin. Caitlin was a very funny person, but she's also very sincere about her faith. And it was very fun sitting across from her, talking back and forth, and kind of hearing what it was like for her as sort of a Christian, faithful, religious person growing up in a very kind of secular, vain environment like Beverly Hills. She's very funny and very interesting, and I hope you enjoy this interview. Caitlin, hi, it's so nice to see you. So glad you came down today to tell your story. And you really do have a pretty amazing story. Didn't have to come far, you're in LA.
Yeah.
And let's start there. So your parents, you grew up in Beverly Hills. You went to Beverly Hills High.
Yes.
Your dad managed like a bunch of like famous rock stars, and your mom was like on Chips and was a model and an actress.
Yes.
What was it like? I mean, tell me about that. You know, everybody's so curious.
It was very different. So yeah, my dad manages a lot of infamous people, and yeah, my mom was a model and an actress.
And like, did you go into like sex, drugs, and rock and roll and just go nuts?
Definitely not. I did the opposite because my dad like wanted me to be cool and like party, so my rebellion was going to youth group. So also my rebellion was not only that, but it was also in the whole body image world, and how when I would spend the night at my dad's house on the weekends, it was like the posters, the movie posters and the headshots, they were all around. So I'd be 12 years old and covering up all my pimples because I didn't want him to see any flaws. So, and I grew up acting as well because it's just kind of like what you do when you grow up there. Yeah. And so growing up going on auditions and being scrutinized and then leaving, and they're like, thank you. I'm glad that I experienced all that because it made me obsessed with everything the opposite. Yeah. And I saw a real behind the scenes look of what was happening behind the scenes. Like my dad would be bailing people out of jail and, you know, trying to get the PR people to not let out what's really going on. So I saw what money and fame did to people, and how, oh, when you get famous and you're really rich, that actually, I kind of feel like makes you more miserable. Yeah. And so once I saw that, I was like, okay, that's not going to make me happy. That's not, the answer isn't there, so it must be here. Girls
today really go through a lot, don't they? I mean, regarding like body image and stuff, like I think about how hard it is, like this kind of idea that like every poster has like, you know, a 10 that's also been photoshopped and also had all the right lighting. So there is an incredible amount of pressure on women today,
oh my gosh, it's awful. Every girl that I know deals with it. So that's like my goal in life for myself and for women too, and just like knowing that all that is a fantasy, it's not real. And even if you have that girl on the poster, like I was that girl on the poster, that's still not satisfying because there's another girl on the poster, and then once you have her, you won't be satisfied because there's another girl on the poster.
That's right.
And you don't know them.
Yeah.
And they don't even look like that.
Yeah.
So it's all fantasy.
Yeah, it's a big fantasy, yeah. So you're a musician, right? And what was that like? How did that inform kind of what you're doing today?
So I just started writing songs about everything that I saw kind of behind the scenes in the industry, etc. Again, as like a therapeutic thing. But one day I was in New York, and the hotel was a real old hotel key, but you know these days they're usually credit cards. So this hotel key was huge. So so I put it around my necklace. So I got compliments on it all the time. And one day, the next day I was at a locksmith, and the person ahead of me got numbers engraved, and I was like, oh, do you by any chance have letters? Can you engrave love your flaws on this key? And so I said, oh, and while you're at it, do you have any old used keys? I saw all these old like discarded keys on the side that were like rusted and cool and like this ish. And I said, can you engrave like hope and strength, faith, grace, fearless, let go, etc. And then I started selling them on tour at the merchandise table.
You get a key, and you make sure every key is unique, right? So there's no two of kind. Yeah. It's like snowflake.
Exactly.
And then you get something printed on that key, and how do you decide like what word goes on there?
At first I just did all the different positive words I could think of. My favorite part is once you get one, you're supposed to wear it for a little bit, for a season, own your word, and then your homework assignment is you have to pass it on at some point to somebody that you feel needs the message on the key more than you.
Awesome.
And then it could be a year later, a month later, when someone, let's say you're wearing your key and you love it, whatever, and then someone's saying, oh, I'm, you know, just going through a breakup, or I just lost my job, and then you have to give it to them at that time, and then you tell them they have to embrace the word, and then they have to keep their eyes open, and they have to pass it on. So it's a whole pay it forward movement. So then people started writing me all these stories. So that's when I thought to start the website, thegivingkeys.com, And then the homework assignment is, once you give your key away or you get your key, you have to write the story of why you gave it away.
So the key is the idea that you're trying to inspire people with like a particular...
Yeah, so at first it started with the pay it forward movement, and that was, again, could have been enough.
Yeah.
But then I knew there was a missing link. I knew I wanted the money to go to some sort of charity. I didn't know what. There was maybe 6 months to a year where I thought of a ton of ideas that would have been fine, like, give proceeds to this nonprofit. And I was waiting for that aha moment. So one day I was walking on Hollywood Boulevard. I left church by myself, and I wasn't thinking about the Giving Keys at all. And I saw a homeless couple, and they were sitting under an umbrella holding up a sign that said, "Ugly, broke, and hungry."
Oh.
And so what
it said, "Ugly, broke, and hungry"?
Yeah. So it caught my eye.
Yeah,
I know, I went up to them, I was like, why does your sign say that?
Yeah.
I was like, what's your story, etc., blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I think I asked them if I could pray for them or something like that. And so I did, and then I said, are you guys hungry? Like, I was gonna bring them food, but then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take you guys to dinner. Let's go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And they were like wet, and they lived in a dumpster. They literally lived in a cardboard box when I met them. And so we went to this cool restaurant on Cahuenga, Kitchen 24. And just getting their life story, and they were so amazing. And the guy, he was raised homeless on the street. His parents still lived under a bridge.
He was raised homeless?
Yeah, his parents literally.
It's like his whole life was, like as a kid, he was homeless, and just has always been that way.
But the girl, I said, I like your necklace. And she said, oh, thanks, I like making jewelry. And I was like, you're the missing link to the Giving Keys. Do you guys want to be my business partners? And that was my aha moment.
So your first business partner were two homeless people you met outside of out of church.
Yes. Now we're in almost 900 stores, and we're in 120 Nordstroms and Anthropologie and this. It's crazy. So obviously they couldn't keep up with that. So then we partnered up with Transitional Homes, United Way and Path and Chrysalis, and now they would screen all the people for us to make sure we're hiring people that are clean and sober and really ready to change their life.
You just met this couple, and you kind of like kill a bunch of birds with one stone in a kingdom way. So like, even though the keys themselves are sort of meant to encourage people and sort of help people through the dark times of their lives, you actually hire people that are really struggling, that need work, to kind of help them overcome and learn a new skill. And there are business people who are watching that go, like, what if my business could be more than just the bottom line? Like, what if somehow in the process of doing business, I could either employ people that need to learn new skills, or create a branch or something out of my business that helps those in need? I mean, is that something that excites you? I mean, is that something that...
Yes, I'm super passionate about this. I don't understand why people wouldn't do that. So my question to people would be, why not? I mean, I think there's a balance of, I think the most important thing is actually caring about the cause first. But it really came from like a place of genuinely caring about these people. So I think that's step number one. I think, you guys, for everybody to really pray, like, God, give me your heart for people. Give me your heart, like, give me your heart for the things that break your heart and all that kind of stuff. That's, I think, number one. And then once that starts to happen, I think, yes, use your business, your nonprofit, your church, your this, your whatever you're doing. If you work at Starbucks or you own a huge company, have a branch or this or percentage or something that goes to whatever cause that God has put on your heart. Yeah. I mean, why not? It's such a waste. My whole life I always prayed, God, give me your heart for people, give me your heart for people. That was like my go-to prayer my whole life. And I really feel like he answered that prayer in the Giving Keys, because I feel like it really is his heart. Like, everyone keeping their eyes open for their fellow man and just the humans and people going through hard things, and keeping your eyes open, like, how can you help, whether it just be a simple thing, and giving this word away, giving your cool necklace away to somebody. And it's just, the stories are mind-blowing. But yeah, and employing these people that some people are, like, they've been in jail for almost 30 years and they've never had a job, and they'll never be able to get a job, and this is really their only opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome, Caitlin. I'm so proud of people like you, and that you guys are really making a difference through your company, and seeing the value of organizing, even for profit, to make a big impact for the homeless, our homeless neighbors, and also just to encourage people, in the dark times in their life. I think it's really, really great, and glad we get to kind of be a part of your story and hear a little bit. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And hope you can come back again. I look forward to see how your story continues to evolve.